All right. Good morning, everyone. So, case 11 from the Book of Equanimity. This case is only in the Book of Equanimity. But I did bring another translation to share with you. This is Ummon's Two Sicknesses. So, this is a little convoluted. So, we'll take it slow. Preface to the assembly. The bodiless person suffers illness. A handless person compounds medicine. A mouthless person takes meals. A non-receiving person has ease and comfort. Tell me, for incurable disease, what's the prognosis and the treatment? Main case. Attention. The great master Ummon said, when the light doesn't penetrate completely, there are two kinds of sicknesses. When you're not quite clear, and there are things in front of you, that's one sickness. Even though you thoroughly penetrate the emptiness of all dharmas, there still somehow seems to be something. In this also, the light has not penetrated completely. Again, there are two kinds of sicknesses in the Dharmakaya. Though you reach the Dharmakaya, because Dharma attachment is not forgotten, and a view of self still persists, you plummet into the Dharmakaya side. This is one sickness. Though you penetrate through this, if you are negligent, it's still no good. Even after a minute examination, when, however, you look at it, the question arises, what adequacy can there be? Inadequacy. This is also a sickness. Inadequacy. Oh, what inadequacy can there be? This is also a sickness. Appreciatory verse. Multitudes of shapes allowed to be as is. Boundless, thorough liberation still obstructs the eye. To sweep out this garden, who has the strength? Concealed in one's heart, it of itself gives rise to thoughts. Steeped in gathering autumn lies a boat upon the blue. Illumined by snowy reed flowers stands a pole with light suffused. An old fisherman with skewered perch thinks of going to market carefree. A leaf sails over the waves. So that last line, an old fisherman with skewered perch, it's translated differently in the Cleary translation, interestingly enough. So it says in the Cleary translation, so this is the Maizumi Roshi translation that I've just read from. So the Cleary translation reads, with a bolt of silk, a fisherman takes it to market. Floating in the wind, a single leaf travels on the waves.
How did you get from silk to perch?
I don't know. So, Thomas Cleary and his brother, they were, they're Chinese scholars. So, but so was Maizumi Roshi. I mean, he could read Chinese. So, I don't know why that difference. But it struck me that it would make more sense that a fisherman had perch than a bolt of silk. So maybe there's some colloquialism in the original language that it means both. Anyway, so the two sicknesses. Even though you may be in a state of samadhi, this is from Shishin Wick's commentary, having dropped away body and mind, you may subtly think there is still something there. So this is a pointing to this constant striving that got us to this practice, and that we continue to do even after we've practiced, even after we've done this for years and years and years, and feel like we've accomplished, we understand, we've experienced those states of samadhi, dropped away body and mind, we've felt that dropping away, we've experienced that directly, and yet we still practice with the idea that there's something else, there's something more, there's something deeper, something that we're missing. And that's the Zen sickness. So we keep coming back looking for more. The second one is we actually think that we know what this true self is, or this no self is. The minute we turn that into a concept, that's the second sickness. So there is no fixed self. And so there's no fixed no self. This grasping onto this idea, this is why you've heard me say many times, some of the worst thing we can do with a koan is talk about it. Because when you turn it into words, it's now a concept. And it is not what's real. Because life is in this constant flow. It doesn't stop anywhere. Where there's nothing to grasp onto, to hang on to. There's no salvation here. there's no security here. There is nothing except you right here, now. And in that constant flow of now, this now is not something that ever stops. For you to get your bearings, for you to form a concept or form a belief or form some place that you get to concretize into being this foundation upon which your existence resonates. That's the sickness. And there's no single one truth on which to stick to. Oneness is constantly manifesting in its myriad forms, every minute of every day. All of it is just as it is. We may not like some of it. We may want that oneness to be someplace else. But this is what it is. This is what we have. And there's nothing to attach to. We try to attach. We try to hang on. We try to think that I'm this and not that. But that picking and choosing is where the suffering is. The minute we turn it into some kind of story, into some kind of concept, into some kind of narrative, that's where the suffering is. And this is the subtle part of that practice is this dropping away, this deconstruction, this constant letting go is what this practice is. Not trying to find something, not trying to get anywhere. You've already got everything you need. Everything is perfect just as it is. Let that go. Go on to the next thing that's perfect just as it is. Then the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. In that constant flow, there's no place to stick. Nothing to stick to. And it's freeing when we finally reach that point of this constant letting go. And every idea that comes in is just, there it is. That's where I'm stuck. There it is again. One more time. This is where I want to stay, but oh no. It's gone. And it is this constant state of free-flowing everythingness that we are, that we are ourselves, and that we are in, that with all the other manifestations of oneness that are constantly around us, not separate. Um, we're flowing just along in this oneness as the current administration. So we're all in this boat together, all in this oneness together, all in this flow together. This stickiness is the sickness. The Cleary translation offers a little bit more history. I guess this koan originally comes from what were described as three sicknesses. Shishin doesn't go into them, but there was quite a lively discussion back in the day about the three sicknesses of Zen. The first one is going away before arrival. The second sickness is attachment after arrival. And the third sickness is penetrating through having no basis to rely on. So this going away before arrival is, you get there and someone says, you're already enlightened, and you're like, okay, peace out. And not realizing that, that the practice is, this way to understand what that really means. And you glommed onto that idea, yes, I don't need this. And so they stop practicing without really knowing what this enlightenment means. And two, attachment after arrival. Usually that's, people sit and they have these initial epiphanies, and they're like, oh, I've got it. That's it. Now I'm enlightened. Now, I got to go back and I'm going to sit. I'm going to get that same experience every single time. And then they're constantly disappointed because that same experience never happens again, but they're attached to that one experience. That's the second sickness. And then there's this attachment to emptiness, this having no basis to rely on, and you get stuck with that as well. So getting stuck anywhere in this practice is like, oh, it's all empty. It doesn't matter. There's no place to stick. There's no rules I have to follow. I can do anything at all. And if you're having problems with that, that's your problem. Not mine, because there's nothing here. Third sickness. So the two sicknesses, Ummon's two sicknesses are, encompass all of those. But that was kind of the original discussion. And Master Foyan said, searching for a donkey while riding a donkey is one illness. After getting on the donkey, not being willing to get down, that's the second illness. So, ultimately, this practice is just your everyday life. Just taking care of what life is, meeting life where it is, taking care of it as it is, without trying to make it into something else, without trying to make it fit into your idea of what enlightenment is, or what oneness should be and shouldn't look like. So this stuckness is dangerous in any place that it shows up, even in this practice. As wholesome and healthy as I want to think this is, me thinking that I've got something, Zen sickness. Zen sickness. Going to this verse, which I'll read you both of them, both translations, because they're very interesting in their differences in the way. So it's interesting to me that two different people are looking at the same words and translating them completely different, but we're talking about 1,000 years between these translations. So Cleary's probably to this, I would say, mid 20th century. I'm not sure when they published this. 50s, 60s. It's that off the top of my head. That's probably when. Oh, this is okay, originally, much later than I thought, 1988. And this edition, and then they released the second edition in 1990. So, okay, and then Maizumi Roshi, so Maizumi Roshi's translation might be earlier. Shishin's book is newer, but he used Maizumi Roshi's translation. So Maizumi Roshi's translation of this verse is multitudes of shapes allowed to be as is. I'll read it line by line. That's Maizumi Roshi. And then Cleary. The dense web of myriad forms is so precipitous. Second line. Boundless, thorough liberation still obstructs the eye. Passing through beyond location blocks the eyes. Third line. To sweep out this garden, who has the strength? Sweeping out his garden, who has the strength? Okay, that matches. Fourth line. Concealed in one's heart, it of itself gives rise to thoughts. Hidden in a person's heart, it naturally produces feelings. Steeped in gathering autumn lies a boat upon the blue. A boat crosses a rustic ford, wet with autumn's aquamarine. Illumined by snowy reed flowers stands a pole with light suffused. Sailing into the reed flowers, shining on the snow, bright. An old fisherman with skewered perch thinks of going to market. With a bolt of silk, an old fisherman takes it to market. Carefree, a leaf sails over the waves. Floating in the wind, a single leaf travels on the waves. Similar, close. But the descriptions are, very widely. I mean, that bolt of silk and skewered perch. But there are those flags that I've seen that have fish on them, but those flags were made of silk at one time. So could that be what they're referring to? I don't know. I don't speak the original language, so I have no idea what they're referring to. And they don't really explain what that is. They explain what the metaphors are, but not what words they're translating. It would be interesting to see a word for word, translation of that.
I think that's the whole problem. First of all, it's not the modern language; it's classical Chinese.
Yeah.
And
9th century.
And meanings change over time.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, a lot of words have multiple simultaneous meanings. So
Yeah.
is the dual meanings at the same time, is that what they were referring to, or were they referring to a specific one of those meanings?
Yeah. Good question. Good question. So I don't know, but I just thought it was an interesting kind of juxtaposition of the two.
Also, the syntactical experience and the vocabulary experience of the translators.
Very true.
Big role in,
Yeah.
One of them is syntactically crazy.
That's the problem with translation. Nothing translates 100%.
No.
Even with similar languages, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Something's different as classical Chinese.
Especially when reading poetry, it's supposed to evoke imagery, and imagery is based on your cultural
Metaphors and all that
background,
kind of stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And me coming from Russia and reading English language poetry, I'm like, excuse me? What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. So understand that is what we're doing with these koans. These you could pick up several different koan, but which is probably why I bought so many of these same books, because the translations were different. They ultimately all lead to the same meaning. They're all pointing to the same thing. It's all part of this practice, but the words that the translator chose to impart that experience are different depending on who you read and how you read it. So we get to take this as it is. And, how much like life is that? I mean, when we're talking to people who do speak the same language that we do, their experience of life is different. Their knowledge of vocabulary and syntax also varies. So we do this all the time. This is an ongoing daily experience. When we're encountering people, who have different lives, different backgrounds, different modes of speaking and experiences out of which they are speaking, and we all bring that to the table every day. And even if there are people that we're not communicating with, I mean, as I sit and listen to Pam Bondi,
You do that, huh?
and she translates, Trumpisms. I'm like, okay, I'm just completely lost in this translation. So it's wonderful that we have all of this diversity, these experiences, these opportunities to really kind of stop and look and take it in and say, okay, I don't know what any of these words mean, but what do I need to do? What do I need to take care of in this situation? How can I be present here and take care of what suffering is being caused by whatever words are being used by whomever is speaking them? And that's really what it is, and not getting stuck anywhere. Because of course, I catch myself on a daily basis getting, stuck in my judgment of, the current administration. I have to, talk myself down.
You're forgiven.
Because it's not helpful.
What did you say? I said, he's forgiven for doing that.
Okay. I'm allowed. But
No, you're right.
that's where we get stuck. That's where I can only speak for myself. It's where I get stuck. Mm-hmm. And then I've got to unstick myself.
That's
and really look at what's here, what do I have control over, where do I contribute, how do I take care of this. So indeed, these sicknesses are present even in a monastic setting, which is who Ummon is. Ummon was the most famous teacher of the Tang Dynasty. There are more koans from him than any other teacher. So, and he had one of the largest monasteries at the time. So he's speaking to a monastic setting in which all these people are doing nothing but Zen practice, working in the monastery, and not seeing much of the outside world. Yet these sicknesses where people were getting stuck, and he's seeing this, and he's like, okay, how do I take care of this? But just because this happened in a monastery, it happens everywhere. It happens with everybody. It's applicable to everybody in the world. How do we take care of this? And first of all, we have to unstick ourselves, which is what, coming back to the cushion is. It's coming back to the cushion and letting go. Not trying to get something. Letting go of what you think you have. Constantly, endlessly. And I love the way she should ends his commentary. I mean, he tells you right away, as we are able to let go of some of our conditioned behavior, even more subtle conditioning appears. Our practice is to clarify and let go of this conditioning endlessly. So there is no end to this letting go because it keeps coming up. There's no end to it coming up, and so there's no end to letting go of it. That's the work. So let us not judge this. Sickness is usually something we want to cure, and not only do we want to cure, we want a vaccine that keeps us from ever getting it again. But there is no inoculation that will prevent us from getting stuck in our stuckness, getting stuck in wherever it is we want to cling to in our experiences that we think are good, we want to hang on to them, or bad, and we want to push them away. That's what life is. And letting go of that. And, Dogen was really very, even kind of told off his teacher after he had this experience of dropping off body and mind, and his teacher approves him and says, don't approve me for something that's temporary. And his teacher then doubly approves him and says, not only have you dropped off body and mind, but you've dropped off dropping off. You let it go.
You drop off, dropping off.
Yeah, constantly, endlessly dropping off, endlessly, over and over and over again. So,
Well, I think that watching Trump is a good example of how we have to observe this practice, because he's constantly changing, and his explanations are constantly changing, and you don't know whether he's telling you the truth or telling you lies. Not that it matters. I mean, what matters. I had this discussion with a friend of mine who was freaking out over some thing that Trump was saying he wanted to do, and I said, you got to stop calling me about things Trump says he wants to do, because I can't relate. Let's wait and see, what happens.
Yeah.
And then we'll deal with it. But good God, suppose about Greenland. And then, turns out it's because he was snubbed for the Nobel. Who maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Maybe that's today's explanation. Maybe it's not. But bottom line is we're not invading Greenland at the moment.
No.
So you don't have to, jump out of a plane and go there.
yeah, it's early yet.
Yeah, I haven't checked the news this morning. They may be invading.
Who knows?
We may be there already.
I know.
Dropping up. My biggest fear is that he might actually have a plan. In America, we say you can't make a silk purse out of a saladier, but after listening to that, maybe you can, And but it actually seems like I hear no old age, no old age and death, no into old age and death. And I just see light and dark, kind of on the edge of light and dark, on and dusk,
Right.
all the time. And I guess the idea would be the hidden message is how do we end suffering? So it's like I have to put those two together somehow.
Well, there's no end.
And no
There's only ending.
Okay.
Over and over and over.
I mean,
and over
how do we
again.
release suffering?
Yeah.
And that's part of the job.
Yeah.
Is that part
That
of the
is
job?
that is the job.
Okay.
That's your only job.
So these questions are ethical.
Yes, and it is and it's ongoing. There's no one panacea vaccine against suffering. There is only constantly ending suffering, because you've got all sentient beings to take care of. So you've got your work cut out for you.
Like that guy says, time, place, person,
And amount.
situation.
Yeah.
Time, place, what?
Time, place, person, and you said situation or
Time,
amount,
place,
tension.
person, and situation.
Yeah.
Those are kind of in the balance if you're going to try and do good work.
Yeah. Tension says amount, time, place, person, and amount. Either way, context.
And amount.
Read the room. What needs to be done here? And you've got to meet that room, meet that person, meet that situation as it is. Not as you want it to be, but as it is, because you can't help it from on high. If you're not willing to get off the donkey and come down, and the donkey is really the same thing as the ox in the ox herding pictures. It's the metaphor for enlightenment, because people, what was it saying? Riding, here it is. Searching for a donkey while riding on the donkey. If you've got enlightenment already, what do you want? Come down. And in the ox herding pictures, that last picture, he is riding the ox backward, playing his flute, headed into the marketplace. He's having fun, and he's going back to just normal everyday life. Free, completely free, to give life and take it away. And that is what this practice provides. Not stuckness, not being on this on the ox or on the donkey, not being in this vast emptiness, no holiness. These are wonderful phrases and words, but they're all sicknesses in and of themselves if you get stuck there. So this is Shishin points out that's the subtle difference between the Soto Zen practice and the Renzai Zen practice. And Renzai Zen practice is, big, bold, loud, because Renzai was, he grabbed people and shook them and he shouted at them and he hit them. He was a rather violent Zen teacher. But Shishin points out that the practice for the Soto school is this constant dropping off, subtle, and getting really penetrating into the weeds, into the smallest aspects of it, and making sure that it's continuously being dropped off, continuously being cleared out, not allowing ourselves to be stuck in any one place or any one word or any one experience, and thinking that's all that there is. Because if you're stuck there, you're missing here. Or if you're stuck in what you want to be, you're missing here. In order to take care of here, you gotta be here. That's the only place that you can help here and now, is being here and now, as it is, not as you wished it were or not as you wanted to be, as it is. That's the job.
I like the saying, you can never put the same hand in the same river.
Twice, yeah.
Because, that's, again, another reason why you can't get stuck in your understandings of yesterday, because everything has changed. And, since yesterday, because everybody's doing the same thing you are. They're all thinking, they're all investigating, they're all weighing things, and things change.
Yeah.
That's why I say, watching Trump is so interesting, because things change on an hour-by-hour basis. And
Yeah.
But Trump at the same time is a classic example of someone who can't let anything go.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because
He
he's
cannot.
You cannot let anything
And
go.
remembers every slight.
Yeah, every slight.
Marcella, good to see you. Oh, you're on mute.
Good to be here.
Good to
be here. Fine. Thank you.
Oh, you raised your hand. Did you have a question? No. Okay.
I recently read
Oh, you didn't
something
raise your hand.
that really stuck with me.
Hmm.
There are two guardians of truth, confusion and paradox.
Okay.
Okay, so this is exactly what we're talking about today. If you're not confused, if you don't see paradoxes, if you're not looking, wait, but how could that be? Then it's not truth anymore. Now you're just stuck. It's just dogma.
Yeah. True. Yeah. And I mean, anything that is, dogma is classically stuck. Classically stuck. Any comments, questions, Sandra? Nothing, Kurt?
No, thank you. I'm just taking a note.
Oh, thanks. All right. Yeah, I think this is an important koan, especially since it's considered to be so Soto, and we're the Soto school. Although Maizuma Roshi was this hybrid of Soto and Renzai, because he had transmissions from both schools. And our practice is this hybrid, and we're not a pure Soto school, because the pure Soto school doesn't do fast Kenhin; they only do slow Kenhin.
They don't do what?
Fast Kenhin.
Oh.
They only do the slow Kenhin.
No
So
difference.
yeah, well there are a lot of differences, but that's just one.
And locally?
So it's so we are this blend, but we wouldn't be here if it weren't for, because the Soto line is not a pure line. It took a detour through the Renzai school for a while because there were no Soto successors, and when one came around, it went back to being separate schools. So if it weren't for the Renzai school, the Soto school would not have survived. But it did, and here we are. And here we are as a hybrid of both, hopefully appreciating both sides of that. That even though, with us, it's all one practice, most people, unless I point it out, don't know the difference between the two. But if you went to, a Soto temple, or you went to Japan to, Eiheiji or Sojiji, you would know that you would notice the difference. But even between those two monasteries, the details of how they do the forms varies. So it's an interesting kind of study in contrast. They accomplish the same thing.
You went to both of them, right? You went to both of them.
I just went to Eiheiji. I've never been to Sojiji. It's on my bucket list. All right. Any final comments before we close? All right. Thank you, everybody.